You're probably doing at least one of these movements every week, and you have no idea it's wrecking your shoulders from the inside out. After 40, your joints don't recover like they used to. Your tendons dry out, your ligaments get stiffer, and your ability to bounce back from poor form or just bad exercise choices shrinks drastically. And here's the scary part. More than 1/3 of men over 40 who train consistently end up dealing with shoulder pain. Most think it's just part of getting older. It's not. The real problem? These are the exact same exercises they've been doing for decades, with zero warning signs at first. Until one day, snap. That tightness turns into an injury. So in this video, I'm breaking down 7 popular exercises that are silently damaging mature shoulders, and what you can do instead to keep growing safely. Because these aren't just risky, they're the main reason so many men over 40 end up on an operating table. Before we continue, already hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That way, you don't miss high-impact content like this, and help more people avoid injuries too. Exercise number 1, overhead dumbbell raises, the silent grinder. At first glance, overhead dumbbell raises look totally harmless. You grab a pair of dumbbells, lift them straight up in front of you, and that's it, right? Simple. But here's the catch. This move forces your supraspinatus tendon into a dangerous corner every single time you raise your arms. That tendon passes under a bony hook in your shoulder called the acromion, and as you age, that space naturally shrinks. So what happens? With every rep, that tendon gets pinched, just a little. You don't feel it at first. In fact, you might go years thinking everything's fine, until the inflammation builds up, and suddenly, boom! Impingement syndrome, sharp pain, and a shoulder that just won't move like it used to. Worse still, guys often try to push through the pain. They up the weight, thinking more load means more growth. But now you're smashing that acromioclavicular joint too, a small joint that was never designed for heavy vertical stress. That's how you end up with early-onset arthritis or rotator cuff tears. Now here's the good news. You don't need this exercise at all. If you're already doing shoulder presses, your front delts are more than covered. And pressing movements for chest? They also hit that area hard. So unless you're trying to audition for a shoulder surgery commercial, it's time to rethink this one. But that's just one of them. And the next one? It's even more deceptive because it's hiding inside one of the most common chest moves. Exercise number 2, WideGrip bench press, the joint killer in disguise. Here's a brutal truth. Most guys bench way too wide, and it's slowly destroying their shoulders. When you flare your elbows out too far during the bench press, your shoulder joint gets shoved into an extreme position, what's called horizontal abduction. That might sound technical, but the outcome is painfully simple. Your humerus bone crushes into the front of your shoulder socket, irritating the labrum and wearing down the joint over time. What's worse, this position also puts your rotator cuff tendons, especially the supraspinatus and infraspinatus, under crazy tension. After 40, those tendons don't bounce back like they used to. They're more fragile, less elastic, and way more likely to tear under repeated abuse. Here's how it usually plays out. It starts with a little shoulder twinge during pressing. You think it's nothing. Then the ache shows up after workouts. Eventually, even reaching into the back seat of your car hurts. That's how rotator cuff injuries sneak in. The fix? Simple, but powerful. Keep your elbows tucked closer to your sides. You're aiming for a 45-60 degree angle between your arms and your torso. This small change distributes load more evenly between your chest and shoulders, and gives your joint a much more natural path of movement. You'll press safer, feel stronger, and most importantly, you'll stay in the game. But hold on. The next move isn't just risky. It's actually banned by some physical therapists. And yet, it's still in thousands of training plans. Exercise number 3, upright row, the impingement trap. The upright row has been hyped for years as a must-do for building shoulder width. But for guys over 40, it's a landmine. The biomechanics of this exercise are all wrong. When you pull the bar up to your chin with a narrow grip, you're forcing your arms into internal rotation while elevating them, a combo that practically guarantees compression in the subacromial space. And what lives in that space? Your supraspinatus tendon, your subacromial bursa, soft tissues that, with age, become thinner, less elastic, and way more prone to inflammation. That's why upright rows are one of the most common triggers of shoulder bursitis and chronic tendon pain in experienced lifters. Another hidden danger? The long head of your biceps tendon. It runs through the front of your shoulder and takes a beating during this lift. Over time, the repeated stress can lead to biceps tendinitis or even tendon displacement. That sharp, radiating pain down your arm? Yeah, that's a big red flag. The smart replacement? Go for lateral raises instead, but do them right. Keep the weights below shoulder height, maintain a slight elbow bend, and never use momentum. Better yet, switch to cable lateral raises for constant tension and more control over your angle of attack. Need to train traps? Try controlled shrugs or wide grip bent over rows? Same gains, way less risk. And the next one? It's old school, but it might be aging your joints even faster than time itself. Exercise number 4, dumbbell pullover, the shoulder stretcher that bites back. The pullover looks like an old school classic. One move to hit both chest and back? Sounds efficient, right? Wrong, especially after 40. Here's what really happens. When you lower the dumbbell behind your head, your shoulders get shoved into extreme flexion. That means the head of your humerus gets pushed hard against the back of the shoulder capsule, a part that's already stiffer and less forgiving as you age. Do this enough times, and you're setting yourself up for capsular microtears, ligament stress, and chronic instability. And let's not forget the acromioclavicular joint, that tiny point where your collarbone meets your shoulder blade. The pullover loads it at a weird angle, and over time, that strain adds up to inflammation, arthritis, and constant pain. The worst part? The warning signs are subtle. A dull ache when lying on your back. Discomfort when stretching your arms overhead. That uneasy click when you reach for something behind you. It doesn't feel like a big deal until it is. So, what should you do instead? Try the high pulley crossover. It lets you fine-tune your body angle, avoid those risky end ranges, and still target the lower chest effectively. Plus, you can keep the tension high without abusing your joints. But we're not done yet. The next move looks harmless, but it's probably the reason your shoulder feels unstable after chest day. Exercise number 5. Chest fly with dumbbells. The stretch that snaps. This one's sneaky. You lie back on the bench, arms slightly bent, and start that wide, swooping arc. It feels like you're opening up your chest, stretching it for a deeper burn. But behind the scenes, your shoulders are screaming. When you bring your arms down and out with dumbbells, you're putting your shoulders into maximum horizontal abduction, a risky position where your anterior ligaments are stretched to their limits and your rotator cuff is working overtime to stabilize. Add weight, and the danger multiplies. Here's the issue. Dumbbells move in a fixed vertical path, dictated by gravity. But your shoulder? It's not a hinge. It's a complex joint with individual biomechanics. And when that rigid dumbbell path doesn't match your unique structure, you get joint stress, not muscle growth. And the damage doesn't stop at the gym. Over time, that deep ache starts showing up during daily tasks. Putting on a jacket, reaching overhead, even brushing your hair. So, what's better? Machine flies. They let you control the arc of motion, reduce sudden load spikes, and protect your shoulder with consistent resistance. Plus, the added stability takes pressure off your rotator cuff so you can focus on actually working your chest, not just surviving the movement. But the next one? It's a classic that trainers still prescribe. Yet it puts your shoulder in one of the most dangerous positions imaginable. Exercise number 6, behind the neck shoulder press. The mobility myth. This one should come with a warning label. The behind the neck press was once a bodybuilding staple. But today, it's a joint wrecker, especially after 40. Why? Because it forces your shoulders into extreme external rotation and abduction at the same time. That combo places enormous pressure on the front of your shoulder capsule and your rotator cuff, particularly the supraspinatus tendon. And here's the kicker. Most guys over 40 simply don't have the thoracic mobility or shoulder flexibility to do this safely. Years of desk jobs, driving, or just life. They tighten you up. So when you try to force the bar behind your head, something's gotta give. Usually, it's your lower back, arching like crazy to compensate. Or worse, your shoulder capsule takes the hit, leading to instability, impingement, and long-term wear. The symptoms? Subtle at first. A little pinch at the top, a strange pop when you press, then pain while sleeping, limited range of motion, and the creeping fear that you've done real damage. The solution is simple. Press in front of your head. The standard shoulder press respects your biomechanics, reduces compression on delicate structures, and gives you better control over form. Need more protection? Use dumbbells to adjust the angle or a neutral grip to minimize stress even further. And now, let's talk about the final exercise. One that looks harmless, but pushes your shoulder past its breaking point when done wrong. Exercise number 7. Deep dips on parallel bars. This one looks innocent. Just your body, some bars, and gravity. But deep dips? They're a silent killer for your shoulders, especially after 40. When you go too low, your shoulders get yanked into a position they were never designed to handle. Hyperextension plus internal rotation. That combo stretches the front of your shoulder joint to its limit, crushes the labrum, and overloads your rotator cuff. It's the perfect storm for chronic pain and joint damage. And the worst part? Most guys don't even realize it. They think that deep stretch means more gains. But what they're really doing is tearing into tissues that can't recover like they used to. You start feeling a weird tightness, maybe a click. Then pain kicks in just from pushing yourself up from a chair. That's when the damage is already done. But you don't need to throw dips in the trash. You just need to be smarter about it. Keep your depth controlled. Don't let your shoulders dip below elbow level. Keep your elbows close to your body. Lean slightly forward and stay within a range your joints can actually handle. Dips can build serious strength, but only if you're not trading performance for pain. You've probably done at least one of these exercises for years, thinking they were harmless, maybe even thinking they were essential. But now you know, the wrong movement, done the wrong way, at the wrong age, can cost you months of progress. Or worse, send you straight to surgery. And that's the point. Training after 40 isn't about avoiding hard work. It's about training smarter. It's about protecting the machine so it keeps running. Because a strong, pain-free body will always outperform one that's constantly in recovery mode. So ask yourself, How many of your gains are being thrown away by movements that don't even serve you anymore? Leave a comment below. Which of these 7 were you doing? And which one are you cutting out first? If this video helped you rethink your training, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell. It takes just a second, and it keeps this kind of content coming strong. See you in the next one. Stronger, smarter, and pain-free.